Here's a little workaround using truck fill and K-Pack in order to address this use case here. So small boxes, different sizes and weights, being distributed in a larger shipper and then palletized. So K-Pack cannot do that use case, so we're first going to start in truck fill, where we specify our different boxes. So you can add or remove and edit those boxes. You can set the length, width, height, and weight, and quantity in case you have multiple items for each of these boxes. You can set the orientation as well, length, width, and height, giving the software some more wiggle room to optimize that volume within that shipper. So once you're done specifying this, you hit the OK button. And now in truck fill, normally this section right here is reserved for a truck, but we're going to use the shipper volume. You can create a new quote-unquote truck shipper by specifying length, width, and height right here. So we created a 24 by 24 inch shipper, specifying the maximum weight of that shipper, and calculating this, we can now see that we have two final shipping boxes right there. Okay, so this is the first one. In order to see the second one, you click on this setup button, and then you go to the second shipper. So I noticed that I only have 4 items here of this green one in the second shipper. So that's not very efficient. So what we could do is we go back and just subtract 4 from that green one, which is item number 4 right there. So instead of 6, we'll just put 2 in there to complete that order. And then we'll ship those remaining 4 boxes tomorrow with another load, for example, or right. So with that, we now switch over to K-Pack because we know the size of that shipper. We specify that 24, 24, 24. And our truck fill program also gave us the gross and net weight. So if you go back and you go to the load details, you can see that information right there. So that's the culmination of each of these 5 different boxes all added up. So 17 3/4 and 16 and 3.75. So 17.75. And yes, just checking here, 16.75. Okay. So that's my net weight. Okay, so once we have that, we select our pallet size just as usual and calculate. So this specific solution kind of requires both truck fill as well as K-Pack, which adds to the cost of the solution. I'm manipulating here the pallet a little bit to see if I can squeeze some more of those shipping boxes on there. There you go. So not the most elegant solution. So here's a second way to do that with just K-Pack by itself without truck fill. So for that, we're going to use the display pallet order fulfillment in K-Pack. Okay, so the way we go about here is, let me quickly add all these values that we had in the first solution. So we have exactly the same setup here. So for the display pallet, we typically select a pallet here. We're actually going to make a shipper, a box, a pallet box. And so right here we're creating a box 24 by 24 by 24. We can specify the weight of that box. Here, I specify that as 1 pound. And then we select that for our calculation. We specify the maximum load of all these individual boxes combined, and we hit the calculate button. And there's our result. Just like before, you see here we have 2 loads, load number 1, load number 2. And just like in the first scenario, we can go back and modify the original input screen. So where I had first 6 boxes right there, we'll reduce that back to 2, calculate, and we have our final solution. So now that we know that we can pack those primaries into that shipper, we continue the exercise going back to the home screen and selecting the pallet group. So it's still a 2-step process, but the big advantage is that we can stay in K-Pack and we don't need truck fill. So here again, 2424, my gross weight, my net weight, just as before. Select the pallet and calculate. So hope that helps. Nice workaround, and thanks for watching.